Alright, going. I think we're good.
Nice.
Yeah, we're good. I just gotta switch the thing to public, and then we'll be ready to roll. So we're 4 minutes out. What are you thinking here? Like just normal? Just
Yeah,
normal.
read the chat.
I'm gonna put it in the Prize Picks Discord too,
I like that.
and just say, hey, we're going live. Jump in, ask some questions about the slate.
Oh,
Do you have anyone in like? Do you plan on like giving out a pick that you really like? Cause my Patreon picks, I was gonna go Bucker field goals. I was gonna go Goddard receptions, and I was gonna go. I mean, those are like my two main. But I feel like I should throw one more in there. I kind of like Miles Sanders under.
under rushing.
Yeah, but I really like Kenneth Gainwell over his rushing.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of love towards
Gainwell.
Gainwell.
Yeah, I just feel like it's. I mean, it's
Hold on, give me 2 minutes.
2 minutes for what,
I gotta take a shit real quick.
dude?
Hold on, I'll be real quick. Ugh. Let's do it.
Let me grab my water.
I told you, 2 minutes.
All right, going live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Are we good? Did you get a notification for it?
We are live. We are live.
Did you get a notification for it or no?
Yeah.
I never got one. You actually got one?
Yeah, I thought I did.
No, I never got one. But what is good, everybody? We are back here. Another year of NFL down. Back here for the Super Bowl. Cannot wait to talk about some props, some bets. I need to place a lot more stuff myself.
Yeah, this board is going to be absolutely hammered. I think this might be one of the best Super Bowls in a while.
Alright, I just got the notification. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about in the main video, I mean, you look at some of these categories. I mean, over 20 different categories to choose from here. Obviously, the Mahomes promotion ended yesterday, but they were doing a ton of promotions throughout the week. We can talk about some first quarter stuff, some first half stuff, whatever you guys desire, we can definitely dive into. So it's definitely going to be a fun day. A nice little slate. I have FanDuel Sportsbook pulled up as well. I'm sure you can find most of the same things over on, DraftKings Sportsbook, BetMGM. Um, so we're going to talk about a ton of things. I mean, we have some super boosts. We have, everything from, game specials to coin toss winners to Gatorade color, obviously player props. Maybe we can even build a little DraftKings lineup. Who knows? We're here for 45 minutes. We're hanging out with all you guys. So Galky writes in the comment section, yo, what up, man? Here for the Super Bowl. Like to hear your guys' Super Bowl predictions in the description below or in the comment section below as well. It's going to be a good Super Bowl. I mean, this is a really tight spread. I mean, we've had some really good Super Bowls over the last couple of years, so kind of really happy to get some of probably the two best teams. I think we ended up getting the two best teams in the league facing off, which you really can't complain.
Oh, exactly. I mean, the Eagles have been unbelievable all year, and even with a couple hiccups and people not thinking the Chiefs were as good as they have been. I mean, they're right here back in the Super Bowl, so this is gonna be a great game. Definitely write down in the comments any player props you want us to talk about, anybody you got your eyes on, any game props, heads or tails, like Dale said. Definitely write down. We'll definitely give you our opinion, what we're looking at. So definitely flood with any questions you guys have.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Um, Riaz, is there anything that you're kind of looking at here? You got a game script for this game. Do you think it's going to be closer than expected? Do you think it's going to be a little bit more? I know you're rooting Eagles here. How do you think How do you think the Eagles win this game? I should say.
I think it's gonna be through the ground. I mean, the way Jalen Hurts can run the ball. You've seen Gainwell. You've seen a little bit of Boston Scott, and obviously Miles Sanders. I mean, he's definitely somebody underneath the radar here. He had really big games where he was going for 150, getting 2 touchdowns, and then you also saw real floor games where he only had 20 yards rushing, only had a couple attempts. So I think this is exactly what the Eagles want. They want to pressure the front of this Chiefs defense, and it's going to be a ton of running early on in the game. But the problem, I think, even though this Philly defense is incredible, Mahomes is matchup proof. It doesn't matter who he has out there. They're going to score. They're going to put up 20, 30 points on the Eagles. I know we haven't seen it yet so far, but this is a matchup uh, made for the Super Bowl. One of the best offenses against one of the best defenses in the league. So this is going to be an incredible matchup, but it's going to start on the ground here for the Eagles.
Well, it's interesting too because you always look at the two quarterbacks, and that's obviously the highlight of every Super Bowl. You look at the quarterback position, and they say every team and every player is usually banged up by this time, but we notably know that Mahomes and Hurts as well is banged up. I personally think the ankle maybe feels a little bit better than people anticipate. He's had 2 weeks off. Obviously, if you played sports growing up, Riaz, you know what an ankle injury is. Obviously, we've never had a 350-pound lineman land on our ankle. but we know the recovery process of him. But Jalen Hurts, that shoulder, I don't know if he's going to be using his legs as much this game. When they did meet in 2021, Jalen Hurts had one of his best passing games ever in his young career. So I know he definitely has the ability to throw the ball. He might take some more chances here, in my opinion. Obviously, the Chiefs have had a really good playoffs when it comes to bringing pressure to the quarterback. Chris Jones has been absolutely phenomenal. There's some interception props here. I mean, for Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes has made a couple mistakes. In the season so far, double-digit interceptions close to him for that. And then Jalen Hurts, not a guy that really needs to take chances because the running game's been so strong. But if that running game does not go his way today, can you see one of these two quarterbacks possibly throwing an interception?
Yeah, I could definitely see Mahomes trying to extend a play, look for Kelsey, look for Juju, MVS streaking down the field, and him just, off that bad ankle and just try to throw one up there. We know this secondary for the Eagles are incredible. And the big thing, why people might fade away from Jalen Hurts throwing an interception is if you just look at the playoff games, they weren't close. He actually got a good amount of rest in these playoff games. I mean, he really didn't have to do much. He was just turning around, handing the ball off. So uh, this could be a spot for a young guy making his first Super Bowl appearance, little jittery, and throwing a pick early on and just having to battle back from that. So uh, if I were to lean between one of them, I would probably pick Hurts rather than Mahomes to have an interception. But I think if Jalen Hurts, he's going to either start off the game with an interception, trying to make a big play out of nothing, rather than Mahomes.
And I agree. I mean, everyone's been these guys, throughout their college and high school careers. You get into these big games, but nothing's like the Super Bowl. And for a guy like Hurts, to come in here, I mean, the lights are definitely bright. Mahomes has been here, not once but twice, so he kind of knows the preparation. And these guys are in their pads from 12 p.m. warming up, taking pictures, a lot of standing, a lot of sitting. The preparation is completely different with a quarterback a quarterback and a head coach who's been there multiple times. You feel like the preparation going into it could feel a lot better. Maybe Kansas City's offense is a lot smoother. Philly comes out maybe a little bit more flat. That's why I would probably lean Hurts for the interception here more than Mahomes. But obviously, look at Mahomes is more risk. He's throwing to guys. He's throwing to guys last week, especially who probably did not even make a roster on some teams. I mean, these guys are rookies. These guys are third, fourth options on main teams. I mean, and he's making them look decent. So I can see some hiccups being there. But when it comes to an offense coming out flat or on top of things, I think Kansas City is the one to come out looking better. Philly, obviously, more running game. It's hard to, it's hard to not come out as strong, especially how good their offensive line is. But Hurts probably be the guy I lean to for the interception as well. And Golke asked a question here, Riaz. What do you feel about Miles Sanders' first half for fantasy score? So let's go over to first half. His fantasy score right now is set at 4.5 fantasy score. And what do you think about that?
I love this. Like I was saying, I think this is where he's probably going to shine. They're gonna. These two offenses are way too dynamic to not have a ton of points scored in the first half. I think even if both offenses do come out a little shaky, they don't want to really turn the ball over. I know we were just talking about interceptions, so I think Miles Sanders is going to get a really good amount of work early on. I wouldn't be shocked if he has close to 11 carries in the first half, and at 4.5, he's been so dynamic. I mean, obviously, the 17.2 fantasy score against the 49ers is something pretty unheard of. I mean, just a monster performance early on in that game. So I don't think we're going to see close to 20 fantasy score, but I wouldn't be shocked if he has 8, 9 fantasy score. I think this line is way too low.
For me, I'm not on it personally. I feel like this is more touchdown dependent for Miles Sanders. I think there's just too many heads to feed in the backfield. I think Scott runs the ball hard, and I think Gainwell is going to have a huge factor in this. And then you look at time of possession. I mean, who's to say that Philly doesn't just get 2 to maybe 3 possessions in this entire first half with Kansas City trying to keep that offense off the field maybe. There's can be different ways to lean on this. For me, Miles Sanders, I would lean more towards, full game fantasy score rather than first half. I think first half is just too sketchy for me to take here. I don't know. I know the line is too low, but I don't know what they're gonna do in terms of who they're gonna feature the most. Seems like Sanders is almost losing his losing his position to some of these other guys. I mean, Gainwell saw almost 20 carries in the last two games, and that's some pretty good usage. So for me, I want to be on it. Riaz, I know you think it's too low, but to me, it does feel a little touchdown dependent.
Well, the problem with what we've seen in these playoff games is the Eagles have been up so much that they really don't want to risk an injury to Sanders. So that obviously you're going to see Gainwell very used in this offense. You're going to see Boston Scott used in this offense just because they want to save Miles Sanders. He's just, if you really look back on the full regular season, his stats will really surprise you. He really had one of his better seasons this year, and obviously in the Super Bowl, we're going to see a monster workload out of him.
I did see a lot of good numbers from Miles Sanders. I remember there was a couple games though I took him, and I mean, it was a fantasy playoff game in my opinion, or a fantasy playoff game in my league, and he went out there, had 4 carries, and no disclosed injury is as well either. It's just sometimes when they have other options rolling, they will roll with that option. They're not scared to turn the shoulder on a guy if he's not producing in the backfield. So that does scare me. I understand it's a Super Bowl. Miles Sanders had an All Pro year. It's just for me, I would stay away from Sanders today. Like I said, I like the value on Gainwell. I do think that he's gonna like the way, even though yes they were up in those games, but the spark that he was providing for them and the way he was running, I feel like it's more of a confidence thing for him. So if you like Sanders, you can roll with him. We have a guy who says, "What do you think about quarterback touchdowns first half?" So if you look at the first half pass TDs, Patrick Mahomes plus Jalen Hurts, 1.5 pass touchdowns. What do you think, Riaz?
I think I would really like this one if it wasn't at 1.5. Obviously, I think there are going to be a ton of points scored in this first half, but when you get down into the red zone, especially this Eagles offense, you could see those read options where either Miles Sanders or one of the running backs take it and score. And Jalen Hurts is always known to snipe a running back or two on their touchdowns. So at 1.5, you just got to kind of think, is Jalen Hurts going to throw one or is Patrick Mahomes going to throw two? I don't love this line. I did take a look at it. It was almost going to be one of the plays that I was talking about. At one, I think you're definitely going to see one. It's definitely a really well placed line, but for me, um, you almost have to think Mahomes is throwing two in the first half, then Jalen Hurts, both of them throwing one.
For me, it looks like Jalen Hurts. It'd have to be like a big. I feel like you can see AJ Brown like taking one home, like a big play from AJ Brown to like spark this offense in the first half. I definitely think that's a possibility. But like you said, I'd lean more Patrick Mahomes. And if you look at that, you might as well just look at his first half fantasy score, kind of. If you're looking at like just Mahomes to throw two, so I mean, you can go either way. But I really don't like this prop too much. The first half, I know some people are going to be on it. However, it's not like one I would take under on, but it's just a fade for me.
And we got another one here with McKinnon being inconsistent towards the end of the season. How do you feel about him today? I think he's going to be used. Obviously, he's too dynamic. He's such a great pass catching back, and obviously his speed. But the problem with McKinnon is you're almost looking at a younger, more talented version of him in Pacheco. I mean, he can definitely go out there and catch some balls, and obviously we know the workload that he's gotten throughout the year with Edwards-Helaire being out. We've seen 20 plus carries out of him, huge games, just being involved in this offense in such a big way. I would love to probably find a good prop for McKinnon. It would obviously be his receptions. And unfortunately, uh, his line's not where I would like it. If him and Pacheco were right around where Pacheco is at two, I would love McKinnon getting two catches, but I don't think he's going to be very used. He's not going to be used much in the running game, as long as Pacheco's doing his thing, which I think he is going to do.
they're gonna need McKinnon as a pass catching back here. I think I there's no prop for him particularly on the board that I lean over to. I actually like the under on his rushing yards at 18.5. I know it's super sketchy. However, I just think that they're just not going to use him. He's going to be used as a blocking guy as well here, and somewhere where he can really provide a lot of value for them as a blocker with that Eagles front being absolutely fantastic. But I think the most value you're going to find is over on a sports book for him. If you look at his anytime touchdown score, I think that's where you're going to find a lot of value for him. I think, let me find out where you can get him at, and I'm pretty sure you can get him at very, very high value here. So let's see if we can find him. I don't know, Riaz, if you found anything for
Yeah,
him.
I got him anytime touchdown score on DraftKings Sportsbook at plus 195. So they're really expecting him to be used a lot in this game. His odds are actually uh, pretty similar to Pacheco here at plus 145. So definitely pretty decent odds at one plus 195.
In which he was used a ton. I mean, if you look at the way he was using the receiving game, especially in the red zone, it was insane. He went 8 straight games, I believe it was, with him um, getting a touchdown in the red zone. So if we go pull up the props.cash here, I could definitely find something for you. And look at the last couple games for him. If we go to receiving and we go to McKinnon here, touchdowns. We look at some of these games: 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 straight games receiving a touchdown. And some of those games he had two against Denver, two against Houston, and then two against Denver again. So in the red zone for sure, he's used a ton. So I can definitely see McKinnon catching one here, but nothing over on Prize Picks you're going to find much value for him unless you like an under.
Yeah, or the receiving yards at 22 and a half. I think that's actually a really good line for him. Just considering how how they're going to use him. They're going to spread him out, or they're going to do a little dump down pass out of the backfield where he's going to make a couple of moves. But if you're high on McKinnon, I definitely believe his receiving yards are definitely the way to go. It's set low enough where he doesn't need to catch 5, 6 passes by any means. All he needs is really one or two to get that done. So I wouldn't lean towards his receptions. Maybe take a look at his fantasy score if that's around 6 or 7. If you think he's going to score a touchdown, and then obviously Jared McKinnon over 22 and a half receiving yards is probably your best bet.
Is there anything on the defensive side of the ball, Riaz, that you like here? I mean, obviously, like you talk about the trenches in this game, you talk about the amazing offensive line play of Philly, you talk about the pass rush of Kansas City and how well they've been in the playoffs, but then also the pass rush of the Philadelphia Eagles and how lethal they could be. So, what are you looking at here in terms of defensive props? Is anyone that you've looked at here that you thought has a lot of value? Eagles 2.5 sacks, Chiefs are at 2.5 sacks. Obviously, two mobile quarterbacks. Maybe Mahomes is about 75% mobile as he is. So, what do you think here in the sack category or any tackle category?
I gotta be honest with you. These aren't categories that I really look at. I'm not much on the defensive side. We got Mitchy Flip saying slay tackles. That's honestly the one I would probably be leaning towards, tackles plus assist at three and a half. He's going to be all over the field. Even Garner Johnson at 5.5. Definitely two Philly guys I would really be looking at here in this matchup.
See, I like Juan Thornhill here. I think Chris Jones, Justin Reed, they're going to provide so much pressure. I think Thornhill can find maybe an opening here, and I just think it's a good opportunity for him to make a lot of tackles in the spot, especially if the running game is going to get working. I think Thornhill is probably the best bet here for a Kansas City guy if you're going to go to a guy on the defensive side of the balls. And when you look at the sacks here, Kansas City, like I said, as good as they've been, but I would look at the Eagles here for sacks. I mean, sacks can really swing the momentum of a game. I think Philly taking sacks provides a lot more value here than Kansas City. Kansas City has got more, maybe not necessarily household names, but they've had more media coverage on how well their pass rush has been this season. But the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, their pass rush has just been amazing, and they don't get enough credit maybe they were talked about enough, I should say. But they're the guys to look at here for 2.5 sacks, especially with Mahomes being a little hobbled. We don't know how well he's going to move. This could be an opportunity for them to rack up sacks.
Yeah, I love what you said there. This Philly front is not getting the recognition that they deserve. I mean, they have just been causing mayhem every single game, and that's really why we've seen these playoff games just go their way. They're creating too much pressure. Luckily, on young quarterbacks in Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy. So this is going to be a whole different game for them. But like their head coach has said this whole entire time, they're just going to continue to do what they're doing. They're not going to change. They're not going to do a different game plan just because it's the Chiefs and Mahomes. They're going to bring pressure. They're going to stick to the running game. They're going to allow A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith to just continue to do what they've been doing. So definitely like the Eagles' sacks more than the Chiefs.
Exactly, and why would you switch up your game plan if it's gotten to this point? They've had an amazing regular season, so I don't know why they would switch up at all here. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, a generational type player, can obviously swing your game plan a little bit, but Philly's been too dominant all season to kind of not stray away or to stray away from what they've been doing. So I'm going to look at some of the quarterback situations here. I'm going to look at pass attempts and pass completions. I look at the pass attempts for Jalen Hurts, 31. I do kind of like the over here on Jalen Hurts. If you look at the two playoff games, a combined total of 49 pass attempts in those two games. But it's just me thinking Kansas City gets things rolling on offense and me thinking the game's going to be a lot more high scoring than people predict. If we look at the line here for the game, it does sit at a decent total here. The total is at 50.5. I know a lot of people think the under might hit here in this game just from time of possession of Philly, the way they're going to control the clock. However, I do like the over in this game. Philly's offense doesn't get enough credit for more than their defense does. Philly's offense can pour on mad points against any defense in the league. Obviously, Kansas City is known for putting up points. So Jalen Hurts' pass attempts is one I look to here. And if Kansas City gets off to an early lead, Jalen Hurts is probably going to have to throw the ball some more. So I like his pass attempts.
Yeah, I mean, we've come accustomed to Mahomes throwing it 40, 45 times, 50 times, and we really haven't even seen that much this season with how good both these teams running game has been. So I don't really look at pass attempts. Jalen Hurts, I think this is definitely one where you can take that over. Uh, Regardless of how good these defenses are, Patrick Mahomes has just proven time after time that he's going to go out there and put on a performance and throw for 300 yards. So he's going to have to keep up today. We're going to see how good Jalen Hurts really is, how good he's developed in the passing game, and they're going to make Jalen Hurts throw. This is probably going to be his career high in pass attempts. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets damn near 50.
And we got some guys in here, 18 guys in here, or 18 people in here. What do you guys think about the board so far? Any questions down below? I mean, you can drop them in the comment section. We are here to answer questions. We can talk about the board some more, whatever you guys want to think, whatever you guys want to do. We do have some DraftKings stuff we're interested in. If we can dive over there, DraftKings Sportsbook, DraftKings maybe building some lineups. But we're here on PrizePicks as of right now. Obviously, if you haven't signed up for PrizePicks before, be sure to use promo code UPSTATE. A ton of people have used the code so far. It helps us out a ton if you use the code. Super Bowl is the best time to get into it. Just look at the amount of categories there is. There's so much value. There's so much to choose from. It honestly could be a little overwhelming, but it is absolutely amazing what they've done for the Super Bowl, and highly recommend coming over here. And Riaz, just why don't you give out a little bit of Patreon information while we're here?
Yeah, $15 a month. You're going to get amazing value, especially today, especially moving forward. We got a lot of stuff in the works. Dale's going to be covering the XFL next week. It starts Sunday and Saturday. So if you guys don't want to miss out on any more football, you don't have to worry about it. I know the Super Bowl is today, but we're going to have more football covered on the Patreon, on YouTube. We got MLB coming up right around the corner at the end of March. We're going to be all over that on YouTube and the Patreon. And then we're also going to just be sprinkling more and more NBA content. So we've had a really good month of February so far. $15 a month. You cannot beat it. Two for the price of one. Highly recommend checking it out. Linked in the description below, and you can also find it at patreon.com/upstate.
And let's dive over maybe to the sports books, dude. I mean, is there anything on here? If you looked at any of these specials so far, Riaz, if you looked at anything that just something where you just has crazy odds, something you can see hitting. I know FanDuel and DraftKings do a really good job at putting out some super boost. However, there's specials that involve, either Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts to have 500 plus passing yards at plus 6,000. Miles Sanders to score the first touchdown and the last touchdown. I mean, there's some things over here that have a crazy odds. So, is there anything that you looked at on sports books that jump out to you the most?
Yeah, I've been looking at the first touchdown scorer, and obviously, it almost depends on who you think's gonna get the coin flip here. But if you want to get some value, if you want to just throw a little bit of cash on somebody to score the first touchdown, I would really say Isaiah Pacheco here. I think he's going to really have a breakout game here at plus 425. I think the Chiefs win the flip. I think they get out to a hot start and really cause this Eagles team to do something. And I don't think it's going to be a monster run out of them. I think Travis Kelsey is going to lead them down there. They're going to get to the 5, inside the 10, and they're just going to punch it home. So plus 425 for Pacheco to score the first touchdown.
I have on FanDuel Sportsbook Isaiah Pacheco to score the first touchdown is plus 1,000 over here. We have Travis Kelsey leading the bunch at plus 650 for first touchdown score. So anytime touchdown score for Pacheco is plus 155. So it looks like you're going to be getting a lot more juice over here on FanDuel for that.
No, that was yeah. Nope, you're right. I
What
had that backwards on DraftKings plus 900 for Pacheco to be the first touchdown scorer.
Other than that, the way I look at it, I mean, you can get into the fun stuff. Don't get me wrong on here. If we look at some of the specials, I don't know if you guys if you guys do use FanDuel. I mean, most of these, I don't like the fact that a lot of these involve wanting the teams to win. I like the ones that involve, a lot of multiple things to happen without picking a winner. Because right here is Patrick Mahomes to have 225 and the Chiefs to win plus 200. You have Jalen Hurts to have 200 passing yards and the Eagles to win plus 200. They do get a little, dicey when you pick a team to win. I'd rather take something with the over and combine it. So I like each team to score one touchdown and one field goal, minus 190. I know it's obviously a lower odds, but I think that's something that you can look at too. But we have a question over at over on Prize Picks. Under on McKinnon rushing attempts with Clyde Edwards-Helaire being back and Pacheco. So I don't think they're going to really use Edwards-Helaire if at all. But what do you think on under McKinnon rushing attempts?
That one's it's tough because I think you're pretty much right on the money there. I don't think Edwards is going to be is used as much. I think he's almost going to be active just in case somebody does go down, and he's going to get a couple carries. But let me find the rushing attempts here. We got McKinnon at 5. Yeah, I mean, definitely like that under. We saw 4 against Cincinnati, 11 against uh, Jacksonville, which is probably his career high, but he doesn't really get that many attempts, especially if they are going to use Edwards-Helaire, and obviously Isaiah Pacheco just cleans up all of the rushing attempts. So this is definitely a line that's way too high unless some crazy injury happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really not, like I said, we talked about McKinnon earlier. I'm not really on much McKinnon stuff. For me, McKinnon, you're looking at touchdown score for any value. Fantasy score you can look at as well. Maybe he catches 2 passes for 20 yards and finds the end zone. He's going to smash his fantasy score in that case. Maybe he does get a carry or two here, and he breaks one away. You never know, and I think Andy Reid's going to have something up his sleeve here to get one of these speedsters involved. It could be McKinnon, it could be somebody else. So Sky Moore, something like that. So we'll see. Karma 2.0 comes in and says Eagles minus 6.5. Lock it. Riaz, I know you love the Eagles, but would you take the juice that far at minus 6.5?
I think I would sprinkle a little something on it. I don't know if I'd be putting anything major on it, but I mean, I haven't checked out those odds, but the way the Eagles have been looking, a lot of tight spreads besides that Giants game. So they're just continuing to shock people. I really don't hate it. They've looked so good that if you just continue to boost up the lines in these last couple of playoff games, you have made a ton of money. So Definitely don't hate it, but don't love it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think if Philly wins this game, it's going to be, by 3 or 4 points here, and maybe even closer. I mean, could we see some overtime? Is that something that maybe throw a little bit of juice on overtime? I think when you look at Super Bowl props, depending on what your bankroll management is, I think the best way to do it is not only, sprinkle some stuff in on Prize Picks, but if you're going to look at a FanDuel Sportsbook or a DraftKings, I think, throw $5, $10 bets on a lot of cool stuff. Maybe, go all out. Some things that maybe can hit, some crazy things that have some crazy odds, like I said, like some overtime. Maybe you take Philly -6.5. Just sprinkle a lot of things in there. It's a Super Bowl. Have fun with it. Obviously, you want to make your money, but that's why I think you throw in a couple big bets on Prize Picks. Maybe you pair up some guys, a couple 2 picks, a couple 4 picks. Maybe you throw everything together, and then you have a little bit of fun on the sports books.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I definitely cannot stress this enough since we're talking a little bit on bankroll management. If you guys are playing Prize Picks and then also playing, FanDuel, um, DraftKings, sports books, definitely don't be afraid to take the guys that you like and you're pairing up on Prize Picks to just straight bet them over on another site where you don't have to pair them up. If you have a great night, you hit all 5 picks, you hit a 5 pick flex on Prize Picks, and then you straight bet those five. I mean, you're just only making more money. So can't stress enough diversifying everything and playing straight bets, parlaying some. So just recommend doing that. You'll see a lot less money being gone, and you won't have to deposit as much.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we're big, big guys on, we always put out 2 pick powers. That's our thing, 2 picks. So I'm sure Riaz has a handful of 2 pick powers he's going to be placing. We're going to have to get to a lot of Patreon work right after we get done with this live stream. Our Patreon members, we're going to be getting a ton of stuff for them today. Of course, they deserve it. They've been good to us, all throughout the NFL season. And as we move into XFL, it's going to be really, really fun. I think XFL is going to involve a lot of research. I'm going to be, really involved in the XFL, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of money to be made. I'm sure the lines are going to be at a really good spot for the first couple weeks of the season until we start figuring out who are the best players, who's going to do this, and how teams are going to play. So definitely stick around if you're a big football fan. So we're up to 19 people so far. We do have options for more questions here. We are here to answer questions. So if you guys have anything or any opinions, make sure you drop in the comment section below.
Without a doubt. And then let's jump over to fantasy score here. I think there's a ton of value over here at fantasy score. Definitely on this Chiefs side of the ball. I mean, really, you see Patrick Mahomes at 22.5. You see Travis Kelsey at 17.5. But really, everybody else is under 10 besides Pacheco at 11, which I think is an awesome line for him. That's definitely one that I will be throwing in a lot. So even with Edwards-Helaire coming back and McKinnon doing his thing, but you got to think one of these wide receivers is going to step up and maybe not have 10 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown, but their fantasy scores are so low. Juju's at 8 and MVS is at 7. I'm almost leaning more towards MVS here at 7. We saw a crazy game out of him against Cincinnati, and I think we're going to see a little more connection with him moving forward in this Super Bowl. So 7 is super low. I'm really projecting him to have right around 4 or 5 catches for 50, 60 yards receiving here.
I like MVS a lot. Like I said, next to him, Gainwell. I've been on Gainwell this whole time, but I look at Goddard too. I think Goddard's gonna have a good game. He comes out and says this is an opportunity for him, especially against Travis Kelsey, to display that he's one of the best tight ends in the league as well. That's what he came out and said. He wants to have that chip on his shoulder for this game, and I think he's gonna be really, really involved. He has a significant size advantage over these linebackers for the against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think at 4.5 receptions, it's a really good line. I think taking him to score touchdowns an absolutely amazing prop. So Dallas Goedert at 10.5 here jumps out to me a lot. And even in these games where they did blow out the New York Giants, they blow out San Francisco, he still has a decent little fantasy score game. And now you get a game where it's going to stay close. I do think Dallas Goedert has a really good opportunity here to smash this fantasy score prop.
Yeah, absolutely love it.
And I guess I'd say, if you want to go ahead, go ahead. But I was going to say my low-key guy would be Tony here. I like Tony.
Yeah, I mean the problem that keeps getting me being on Tony and Juju Smith-Schuster is he just does not. It's too. It's been all year. You really don't know who is going to get, you know, 5, 6 targets out of the three of them. In really majority of the season, it's been who's going to have that game, MVS or Juju Smith-Schuster. So you really just never know that this could be a game where Juju has the 22 fantasy score and MVS has 2 fantasy score. But we got a question here. You guys like Pacheco fantasy score? I do. I love his line at 11. I think this is a great spot for him. We've seen just so many good games out of him. Uh, he's hit 4 out of the last 5, 4 straight now. Really just kind of eclipsing that number, but he's going to score a touchdown. I believe in that. So that's going to be 6 right there. And I think he's going to get a big workload. I know this Eagles defense has been looking really good, really stout, stopping the run, but they're going to be too worried about what Mahomes is going to do, and they would much rather let Isaiah Pacheco do what he has to do than let Mahomes throw all over them.
I like Pacheco a lot too. He runs with a lot of just anger. I feel like he's something that the Kansas City Chiefs needed. A huge spark guy. He can swing the momentum of this game. I could see maybe in the third quarter the Chiefs being down by 10. Pacheco breaks off a big run. Things start swinging their way. I mean, there's that possibility here. And Pacheco is a guy that provides just so much spark, and he can catch balls out of the backfield as well. So Pacheco, even to score a touchdown here, is a really good prop. And I know he hasn't smashed this line. We haven't seen like a huge monster performance out of him, but he's definitely capable of it, and this could be the game.
Without a doubt. I mean, I don't want to continue to harp on it, but we just seen so many games where he's had 20 plus carries over 100 yards. And when you have the workload like that, 11 and a half, you really don't even need to score that touchdown. The touchdown just almost seems like a given. So love that in a tough matchup.
So what do you think here, Riaz, about trying to build maybe a 4 pick power? We can take our YouTube guys in there. For YouTube, we went receptions, AJ Brown, and then we went. Who did I go on the? Touchdowns for Travis Kelce here. So if we include Pacheco in that mix, is there anyone here that you feel comfortable putting your final guy in if you're punching a 4 pick power?
Yeah, well, let's do this. We got 16 people in here. If you guys want to write down real quick your guys' favorite play, we'll pick we'll pick 4 of them, and we'll also run that as a 4 pick power as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool for sure. So let's put some things down in the comment section and talk about some more guys. I mean, we can do anything here. Overs, unders, like I said, some defensive guys, some crazy prop that you like. Let's do it.
First
So,
half, first quarter, whatever you guys are loving here. Let's just get them rolling here in the comments. But yeah, I'm gonna place that as well. I'm gonna throw our YouTube picks with Pacheco fantasy score. Eagles fourth down conversions allowed over.
that's an interesting one. And I
I
like the
like
fact
that
that it's at a
one.
half. Yeah, I mean, you look at Andy Reid, you look at how aggressive this team's going to be. He used to be an Eagles head coach. You feel like this is an opportunity for him to just kind of, you can take the life out of him, the life out of that team here. If you convert a fourth down here, especially, say they're, at midfield here, things are going their way. They just stab one in. This could be a huge momentum swing. And the fact that it's at a half here, I know they've been a really, really good third and short. Kansas City's been a terrible third and short team. Philly's been a good fourth down defense. So we'll see what happens here. But the fact that it's at a half, I actually really, really like that one.
I love it too, and that's why I like when you guys throw uh, your picks in there because you guys really uh, ask a lot about lines that I really don't look at, and really these lines have a ton of value, and I'm just overlooking them. Can't use it with the Chiefs offensive player though. Oh, that's kind of brutal.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. So who would you be able to pair it up with? A Chiefs
It's
defensive player?
Eagles, Eagles, like Eagles guys.
Well, you'd have to have some chief because you can't use the same two teams. You'd have to have some sort of chief in there.
No, because this is basically you're basically picking a chief because they're converting that fourth down is almost what I think Prize Picks is thinking of.
Try to punch it in with an Eagles
I'm gonna do.
player and see what happens.
Let's see here.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I do like that prop though.
Entries must include at least two players from a different team.
Yes, because you're using because it says Philly and then DST, which would be
So I should be able to punch this
defensive
in.
special teams. So you'd have to use it. You'd have to use a Chiefs player, but it has to be a defensive player.
Uh, that's weird that they do that.
Zach says he has another kind of random one, but Brett Kern punt inside 20 over.
Oh, so taking that they're not gonna pin him here? Is that?
No, he lands a punt inside the 20.
Oh, I like that. You could see them short field, him just kind of booting one up and pinning him at the 5 or the 10.
These are some
I
random
like
ones, but
that
I
one.
do. This is the
Now that's one you should be able to pair up with your
with the fourth
with the
down.
E. Yeah,
So for
and this
you,
one's at a half too.
yeah, if you were to use all, I mean, that's sickening. You can't punch in all four. If you include AJ Brown, Kelsey, Pacheco.
You can't. It's easy.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. You'd have to find a way to kind of combat that, and maybe do a couple two pick powers.
But I definitely like where your head's at. I do like these these half lines. I mean, you're right up my alley. These are whenever I see a half line, it's really tough to kind of fade those.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of waiting for him to say, "Oh, L'Jarius Sneed over half a pass deflection," or Gardner Johnson over, just something random like that. I mean, why not take a swing on some of these that they're offered? Obviously, there's some sort of value in a lot of these if they are offered on here. So, um, you know, I look at one that's a half too. I look at Hurts rushing touchdown. I think with the quarterback sneak, the ability for them to move the field here, I think this is one of my favorite props on the board. Hurts rushing touchdown. This is one I would definitely look at. You look at 4 of his last 5, so that's gonna be one of my favorite plays on the board. With 20 guys in here right now, if you're looking at that one, that's one of my favorite plays. So Hurts over half a rush touchdown, especially with the quarterback sneak being involved.
And he just always seems to whenever they're inside the 5, you always got to expect he's pulling it and running it. So at half, that's an amazing line.
But Riaz,
Definitely, yes.
we're wrapping things up here. We're getting low on time. We got to get over to some Patreon stuff. What do you think here? Wrap it up. One play to go to the books with. We're gonna allow a minute or two for some people to drop some more questions down below if anyone has any last calls. But we got to jet over to the Patreon. So Riaz, talk about your favorite pick on the board, and then let's see if anyone else has anything left to say.
Yeah, really, my favorite pick is we've already talked about it, and that's Pacheco fantasy score. I think this is an awesome line for him. 4 straight now, going to make it 5. I think the upside is there. They don't want to get beat by Mahomes. They know Pacheco cannot cannot win them the game. So I think Pacheco is going to get close to 20 carries. He'll probably eclipse 100 yards, and I love him to find the end zone. So over 11.5 fantasy score. Love that one.
Zach says last one, boys. Patrick Mahomes pass completions over. We talked about pass attempts early on in the video. I'm not sure if you were here. We talked about Hurts pass attempts over there, but I look at pass completions for Mahomes. I get a little bit nervous. We expect Pacheco to have a really big game. I can see this just getting over by one or just getting under by one. So I would lean more towards pass attempts with Patrick Mahomes. But look at the pass completions. You just look at the injury of the whole core itself. Obviously, Kelsey's relatively healthy right now, but look at some of the rest of the guys. No Hardman in this game. Juju's been banged up. Tony's been dealing with issues since he's gotten to the league. It gets a little dicey for me, and it kind of just opposites the pick with the Pacheco pick. So Mahomes pass completions, not necessarily an under and over for me. I'd probably just fade it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't mind this. Obviously, Mahomes is going, he's going to throw the ball. He's going to have to. 25 and a half is obviously a line we don't really see that often. And the thing that scares me is the 16 against Seattle, the 16 against the Raiders, Jacksonville 22. So we haven't seen the Mahomes of, having 35 pass completions thrown at 50, 55 times. And this is definitely not a game where he's going to want to throw the ball that much. He's going to want to control the ball, control the clock, really have smart possessions because this secondary for the Eagles is probably one of the better ones we have seen in a while. So definitely don't love it, but if you feel confident about it, Mahomes is always good for 40, 45 pass attempts.
Yeah, he averaged 25 completions on the course of the season. I'm at props.cash right now. Only 42% hit rate on the entire season for him on this line. Almost positive money here at minus 106 for him to go over on this. I don't think it's much value. Like I said, if he is going to hit it, it's going to be one or two over. Like I said, it's two coin flip for me. Obviously, they're all pretty much coin flips, but this one especially is too close to call for me. I mean, if he had games where he was getting consistently 30 to 35, I'd see it, but he's really only getting 29, 28, 29, 29 again, and especially in these playoff games where you think he'd be throwing the ball a little bit more. We don't really know. So we expect Pacheco to have a big game. Mahomes is going to be our guys. Is going to be a guy that we're going to fade, especially in that category. So Zach says appreciate the info. Good luck tonight. You guys should do this more often. We have before, and we want to explore the option to do it more for NBA as well. Like I said, we're diving into XFL. Riaz is doing MLB. NBA goes all the way up until summertime into June. So we do actually have some NBA games today. We're gonna do a little bit of Patreon content for that as well. So we got a good game. Boston and Memphis are playing today, and then later on we have Detroit and Toronto. So some Super Bowl, NFL, NBA. You can pair up the two sports. This is what we do over here on Prize Picks. That's why it's absolutely amazing. So sign up using promo code Upstate. Thank you for everyone. Todd comes in and says yes more often, maybe next week Sunday too. Good luck everybody. Good luck to you, Riaz. If you have any last things to say, go for it.
Yeah, good luck to everybody tonight. We appreciate you guys coming into the live stream. I've really been thinking about doing some live stream Saturday for NBA. So live streams are definitely going to be in the works. If you guys enjoy them, we enjoy them. We love seeing the feedback, collectively picking some plays with you guys. So good luck. Let's win some money. Go Birds.